Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Alison, the online piano and online violin tutor. Now in today's video I'm going to go through or tell you exactly how you can rosin a bow from complete scratch. So you've just got a violin, you've got the violin out of the box, you've got the bow out, you've tightened up the bow and there's no sound coming out on the violin, so you need to apply some rosin. But before we go any further and before I show you that, I just want to tell you about my 1 to 30 violin course that I know so many of you don't know that I have. So my 1 to 30 violin course is the first online and interactive course of its kind that 100% guarantees to take you from a complete beginner to a very decent, accomplished intermediate player. It's comprised of 30 lessons with 5 PDF tutorial and songbooks, and the whole course is completely online and downloadable. So the course will start off by taking you through the very basics from how to hold the violin and how to hold the bow. Then you'll start to play simple exercises just to get you going. You'll be learning how to read music, and then you will finish off by learning a proper piece of music with a piano backing track. And that's just in the first 10 lessons. The beauty of this course is that the first 10 lessons are absolutely free, along with all the PDF printouts and all the materials that you might need. This is going to give you an idea of my teaching style and really to see how fast that you're going to learn with my 1 to 30 violin course before you commit to the rest of it. The course is priced at $59.99 US, and this is a one-off payment. It's a really cheap course when you think about it. If you were to hire a private music teacher or have weekly lessons, you know, they'd be costing you, what, in the UK about anywhere between sort of 20 and 30 pounds an hour. In the US, you know, maybe an average of $50, sometimes more depending on whether you're in a big city or not. So my course really is like having a one-time payment for a teacher. As I said, the course is 100% downloadable and it is literally available to anyone, anywhere, no matter where you are in the world. This course really is the enchilada of all violin courses, and the link to the free first 10 lessons and all materials needed to get yourself started right now will be linked directly below this video. Okay, so imagine the scenario. You've just got a brand new violin out of the box and you're really desperate to have a go with it. You've just downloaded all the materials that you need for my 1 to 30 violin course because the first 10 lessons are absolutely free. You want to get on with it and you want to start playing. However, you tighten up the bow and there's no sound, or there's very little sound that's coming out of the bow. Now, the first thing you need to do is to apply rosin to that bow. Now, you should have some rosin that comes in the end of your case. It'd be something like this. This is Sartori rosin. I'll put a link to this directly underneath. This is the rosin that I use, but you can use the rosin that it comes with. Now, how you're going to apply rosin is so. You will need to make sure that you apply plenty of rosin. Now, when I rosin my bow just on a kind of fortnightly basis or whatever like that, just to add some more rosin on my bow, I don't add an awful lot of rosin. I just maybe do a few swipes and that's it, I'm done. When you're trying to rosin your bow from scratch, from brand new, you're going to need to spend a bit of time putting rosin on your bow. It's probably my top #1 question that I get. People will say, oh, I've put rosin on my bow, or I've put that stuff on my bow and I'm still not getting a sound, or a bit of a wispy sound, or a very kind of loose, just a not a very full bite or a full sound. And I will tell them the same thing that I tell everybody else: put more rosin on. Don't underestimate how much rosin you need to put on a bow. And remember, the kind of bow that you're going to be putting on is probably going to be like a student quality bow, so the hairs are going to be synthetic. It is a lot harder to put rosin on synthetic hairs than it is like Mongolian blue horsehair, for example. So it is a lot more difficult, and it will take a little bit of doing. But you'll notice without any rosin on the bow that the hairs are, you probably won't see on here, but the hairs are quite yellow, and they sort of feel, they just feel kind of very, a little bit like your own hair when it feels really kind of just nice and slippery. I'm going to do it real time. I'll probably speed up this video for you, but I'm going to do it in real time. I should probably say that I'm going to start by just concentrating at the ends here. And then I'm just going to overlap that and just move up a bit. And then move on. So I'm kind of doing it in section, rosining there, and then I'm overlapping in a bit and doing it there, sort of maybe like 2 to 3 inches, overlapping, doing a bit there and working all the way up the bow. You don't want to be just swiping up the bow, you'll be there all day and it's not enough concentration of rosin. Okay, so I've got up the bow. I'm just going to do the same thing and I'm going to go back down the bow because I know that's just not going to be anywhere near enough rosin. So again, I'm kind of taking about 2 to 3 inch sections. I'm going to do the end of the bow, do quite a bit there, overlap it, move on, do quite a bit there, and so on. Okay, so once I've done that, I will do a few swipes up and down. What this will do is just help to just disperse some of the rosin there, just so I don't end up with little clumps. Just a few swipes up and down. Now to me, it looks a little bit more coated. I probably don't think there's going to be enough on there. Actually, if I show you at the top there, hopefully you can see that. You can see at the very tip of the bow where it's not been rosined, and then you can see sort of a little bit further down where it's been start to rosin. I've been applying rosin, it's started to grip the rosin. So you can see the difference there. So that's what the bow used to look like, and that's what the bow looks like now. So it should look nice and snowy white. Okay, so now I'm going to play the bow. I'm going to do some swipes up and down just to kind of distribute it a bit, and we'll see if we need to add more. Okay, I think that sounds absolutely fine. So I know it's fine because I'm getting a nice, clear, consistent sound. You might find that it's a little bit shaky at the very heel because it's a lot harder to put rosin there and sort of at the very tip of the bow, which you saw there. But just by doing some swipes up and down just helps to just distribute the rosin up and down the bow. I can also see that there's quite a bit of fallout coming here. I can sort of see the dust coming off the violin or dust coming off the strings. That's absolutely fine. One would expect that if you've just put some rosin on a brand new bow. You'll also notice as well on the bow, I don't know if this is coming out, but if I kind of swipe off a little bit, you'll see a lot of the dust that goes on the wood of the bow. So that's fine. Just, you know, just clean it off. Just get a cloth and just rub it up the wood of the bow. Your fingers will get nice and sticky with all the rosin as well. But that's absolutely fine. So if you are playing if you're playing on if you think you've done enough like I have, and then you play and it still sounds a bit patchy, it still sounds a few bits that still sort of sound like they're not gripping very well, or they still sound a bit kind of wispy, just go back in and kind of repeat that process, but a sort of a half version of that, if that kind of makes sense. You don't need to do all of that again. You can always add more rosin, but you can't take the rosin away. If you have over rosined the bow, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's probably going to sound too grippy and maybe probably a little bit too gritty, grindy, kind of husky sort of sounding for a little while until you've kind of played off that rosin. You'll also have to make sure that you just clean your violin a bit more. So when I do first rosin my bow, when I'm, you know, every fortnight or, you know, whatever it is, depending on how much I'm using and playing with my bow, I do get a little bit of fallout on the strings. So just when I put my violin away, I would just give it a quick little wipe there because I don't really want the build up on there. That soon goes away. But when I am putting rosin on my violin, on a weekly or maybe a fortnightly basis, just to keep the rosin up on my violin, all I will do is just a little bit like this, sort of overlapping like we did when we were putting the new rosin on, but I will just move quicker up the bow. That's it. And then I will do 1, 2, 3 or so swipes up the violin just to distribute that, and that's it. That's me rosining my bow for real. So I actually haven't rosined my bow for quite a while. So yeah, it did actually need a good rosin. So This was the bow that I was actually rosining. This was the bow that wasn't working because it didn't have any rosin and I was using at the beginning, and this one is, the bottom one here, is my bow for my own violin. So when I come to rosin my bow again, that's all you're gonna do. Just sort of a little bit all the way up the violin, just a few swipes just to distribute it all really nicely, and that's literally it. So you shouldn't really get any fallout on the violin once you recoat the bow again, because you're only just putting enough rosin that you need. So there we go. I hope this has helped you. The link to the first 10 lessons of my 1 to 30 violin course, which are free, are going to be underneath this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.